Greetings, Malifaux fans. This is Crazy Carl back with another Malifaux video battle report. Today I'm bringing you a 35 Soulstone scrap versus Chris, aka Twisted Metal on the Weird Forums, who's playing Neverborn, and I went with Arcanists. I had pretty much committed myself to playing Feng ahead of the time of the game because I just recently got her painted up, and I really wanted to get a game in with her. Besides the one I got in previously, but it was my first game with her. So this is my second game with her. Chris flipped Destroy the Evidence for his strategy and took Zoraida with Kaladi. With a Primordial Magic attached to him, Mature Nephilim, 4 Marionettes, and 2 Wicked Dolls. Whereas I flipped Reconnoiter and went with, Feng. So I took Feng, a large steampunk arachnid, the Emberling attached to her, Kang, a Karis, the Student Conflict, and a Soulstone Miner. So I thought it'd be an interesting crew to go with. I took Power Ritual from one of my schemes and then killed Protege on the Mature Nephilim, whereas Chris had Grudge hidden on my large steampunk arachnid and then Stake a Claim on the hill that I was deployed on. Here you can see turn 1, my Soulstone Miner very quickly took one of the table corners and then moved up to engage this Marionette, whereas Chris was able to use Kaladi and take out the first evidence marker very quickly, and then the second one he took out after killing off my large steampunk arachnid. So he was up he was up 3 points on the first turn, which is pretty good for him. Meanwhile, I used Feng and Karis to block off line of sight to my crew to keep Chris from being able to conduit on anything with Zoraida, and ended up winning initiative on turn 2, which was very fortunate for me. I was able to activate Karis, fly over, get a couple of ignites off after the turn it up trigger, killing off a Marionette killing off Marionette with a Immolate. Now, we weren't 100% sure how the Immolate markers work. When you kill a model with Karis' Immolate spell, it leaves behind a Pyre marker, which stays ostensibly for the rest of the game, and it's hazardous 3. Now, we didn't know if they took the damage immediately or if they'd have to do it when they activate. If they do it when they activated, then Chris would be able to activate one of his models and just pull Claudia away, and it wouldn't be a problem. We played it as it just did the damage right away, so as a result, he lost 3 Marionettes and a Wicked Doll, and then the scrap counters along with them. So it was a pretty good turn for me. I'm not gonna lie about that. After that, Chris did something. I think he moved a Wicked Doll over to move Claudia away or something. He didn't do very much. I then charged Kang into the Mature Nephilim, hit the red Joker, and killed it. So that's why you don't see a Mature Nephilim anymore. Chris used his Marionettes to fly away with Kaladi after summoning another one next to the evidence marker. I charged my Soulstone Miner in to kill off the Marionette that was there already, but unfortunately Chris was able to kill off the Soulstone Miner. I made a bit of a mistake. I killed off the Marionette that was sitting next to Kaladi and then decided to use Overdrive to get Melee Master and try and do some damage to Kaladi. But that was a really poor plan because that's 2 less hits he has to do with his dolls, and he was able to kill it pretty easily and then flip his evidence marker. Zoraida, in the meantime, had conduited onto Kang this turn, so that was good for him. However, and Kang attacked Karis. He charged Karis with Kang. But I Soulstone to avoid the hit, so it wasn't a big deal for me. He then moved up his Voodoo Doll to hopefully obey next turn more easily. And then, this is the one picture I'm going to show of the Primordial Magic, because otherwise you'd just be seeing pictures of it just sitting in one spot the entire game, because that's really all it did. The first turn, I think the Primordial Magic was able to get off Breathe Life onto the Marionette, or into the Wicked Dolls, give them Melee Expert. Beyond that, it did nothing for the entire game other than give Zoraida a card, which is still pretty darn useful. You can see Kaladi shortly after killing off the last evidence marker. I wasn't sure how I was going to deal with Kaladi at this point. I was originally moving Karis up to interact with the 4th table corner I'd need for Power Ritual, but I decided to move back and try and deal with Kaladi. I figured if I could kill off the Marionettes, I could kill off Kaladi. Problem is, Kaladi's willpower 7 when he's resisting spells, and Karis has her Immolate spells resistant in willpower, so I had to try and burn him out of Soulstones and then work from there. So that's what I did. I focused a bunch of attacks. Here you can see Feng gearing up to attack Zoraida, forgetting names of models all of a sudden. And Kang was shortly behind her and was going to join her in that pursuit. So I tried to burn away some Soulstones so that I would have a better chance of killing off Kaladi, because if I can kill off Kaladi, he's going to have almost no significant models to put on the... If I can kill off Kaladi, he's not going to have any significant models that he could put on the stake a claim because Zoraida would have to do it, and I was hopefully gonna kill Zoraida. That was my plan. The Emberling was very unfortunate this game in that it wasn't able to link to anything, so you can see it was just kind of stuck in the middle of the board, not really anywhere to go. I ended up moving it up towards Mei Feng so that I could use it to seismic punch her or Kang around if need be, which ended up being pretty useful. However, so here you can see Karis moved up to try and kill off some marionettes. She ended up doing not too much. I was able to ignite a pair of them, get them down to 1 wound each with burning counters on them, but that's not enough to kill them. And Claudia was able to pick up some scrap counters sitting along the way with his marionette's pull strings, so not so good for me. He's able to very quickly, he's going to be able to build up another force of dolls, which is not something I was going to be able to deal with very easily, especially since we were both dwindling very low on Soulstones at this point. And Zoraida and Claudia has an ability to get Soulstones back from his dolls, so that'd be not good for me. So turn 5, I was able to focus a strike with Kang after Mei Feng just completely whiffed on Zoraida. And Kang was able to focus and get the red Joker out and get Zoraida down to 2 wounds after she's her last Soulstone prevent. So I felt like I was in pretty good shape there. Plus I was able to toss up the +1 CB aura with Kang, meaning that Mei Feng's hitting on CB7, which is much harder for Zoraida to fly away from. So even with her proper manners, so with a little bit of luck, I'd be in good shape. And I had 1 Soulstone left over, so I thought I was doing pretty well. But although Chris was not doing poorly by any means, he ended up moving Claudia back towards the hill. I killed off one of his marionettes with Ignite, leaving behind a Pyre Marker, which did some more damage to Claudia. And then I was a little bit worried that he'd be able to pull Claudia away the next turn, because he still had a couple of marionettes sitting around. So what I did on turn 6 is I tossed out some flame pillars in front of or behind Claudia, pretty much locking him in. So that meant that I was focused a lot on the marionettes being able to retract, but they didn't need to retract, so that was silly on my part. He was able to just activate a marionette and put it close and then pull Claudia out with pull strings. I don't know if Claudia should have taken damage from the terrain when he was pulled through, so in the comments, if you know, please leave that. Chris has been asking on the forums for a while how that works, but hasn't been able to get an answer. So, there you go. So, as I said, turn 6, I moved up. Zoraida flew away. Sorry, this is still the end of turn 5. Zoraida flew away, and Mei Feng moved to engage her, but wasn't able to do much else. The Emberling helped her out by pushing her up with Seismic Punch. And here you're going to see the end of the game, where Chris was able to fly over onto the hill with Zoraida, getting away from Mei Feng. Karis did the best she could, but she actually charged at Claudia when he was sitting in the Pyre Marker, and I was just a little bit out. I should have remembered that the turn before when I was igniting, I was at 10 inches, which was just at where I would be able to hit him. So that was, or I was just out of being able to hit him. So poor mistake on my part. I didn't want to risk the negative flips because I needed to get a burning counter on him so that I could immolate him and try and kill him with my last Soulstone. But apparently it wasn't to be. So the Mei Feng, moved up and prepared for turn 7 if I could get it, but I ended up not getting it. So Kang was able to activate the third table cord I needed for Power Ritual. So that gave me 1 point for Power Ritual, 2 points for Kill Protege on the Mature Nephilim, and then I only got 1 point for Reconnoiter because I didn't have enough things to claim table quarters. Chris got his 4 points for Destroy the Evidence very, very easily. 2 points for Stake a Claim, and then 1 point on the Grudge, which was hidden for the large Steampunk Arachnid. So it ended up being a 7-3 game, but it was a lot of fun. It was, or 7-4. I'm not very good at doing math. And it was fairly close. Chris staged a very good late game comeback after my good early game comeback. So it was a great game. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I think this is probably going to be my submission for this month's battle report, or contest. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully it wins. See ya.